Well, my opinion is, my point of view.
Oh my God. Drewski, where you at? I'm just kidding.
Not Drewski, where you at?
What's up, you guys? You're tuned into an all-new episode of Point of View. Happy Monday. Ladies, how are we feeling today?
Good.
Good?
Happy to be back.
Yes.
Yeah,
So happy to be back. We had a long weekend.
We did.
really did. I know to viewers it didn't seem like a long weekend, but we did do reruns Thursday and Friday. But we weren't here Thursday and Friday for sure. But you guys, we have a very interesting episode ahead of us, so let's just jump right into it. With the rise of parent influencers and family channels on social media, this state decided to crack down on some child labor laws. For those of you who don't know, family channels create content on social media that captures their everyday lives, and sometimes they feature their children. Well, the state of Illinois has passed a bill which states that children under 16 must give 15% of an influencer's gross earnings if they appear in at least 30% of their monetized content. So, how do we feel about that? A lot of us create content online.
Right.
And sometimes you guys feature your children. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, honestly, because I feel like I do some content with my kids, and anything that I get, is for them as well.
Go back to them anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, and I think that it is smart, and there are a lot of different ways now that entrepreneurs can pay their children to help them out and benefit them in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just worried about how will that work, like tax, wise, like
I think that honestly, I think it is a tax. I don't want to say break, but it's a way for the government to get more money out of families.
Yep.
Personally,
For sure,
that's what
for
I
sure.
think.
That's exactly
Because
what
at
it is.
16,
Yeah.
now you're trying to say, because a lot of the content creators, these family channels make a lot of money.
Right.
Because there's not many of them. So when you have a family page, it hits a lot harder than a lot of the couple pages and stuff like that. But to say, and a lot of family pages don't have one child. They have like 3, and that's what makes it so like big and hectic and people interested in their lives.
Yeah.
So now you're trying to say not only does a family have to have a major income, now they have to do taxes on the parents if they're joint, if they're not, maybe 1 or 2, and maybe your 3 kids.
Yeah.
So they're getting taxed individually, and to say that's 15% of their gross income. Is that 15% times 3, times 2? How many kids you have?
Exactly.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah, I for sure also think it's a big tax thing. I mean, Illinois is known as one of the most corrupt states with taxes, like honestly. So I'm not surprised that they passed a bill like this. But yeah, influencers are making way more money than chump change now. You can completely survive. You can literally, you are completely self-sufficient just by posting videos online. And when you add your children,
Get a mansion, girl.
right? And when you go in it with someone else, another partner, and then you add your children, that double, triple, quadruples your income. You know what I mean? So I think this is just the government's or the Illinois government way of saying, well, we kind of want a little bit more of the pie, of that big pie that you guys have. So I think that's what it is, honestly.
I don't know. I feel like I'm like 50-50. Like, I'm like, yes, like, I love it. Yes, pay your kids because it's going to go back to them anyway.
Right.
Like, you still have to, take care of them at 16. I don't really see too many, like, teenagers moving out on their own at 16. That's still high school, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm also, like, pay your kids, but then I'm also like, what about the kid? Like, what about the regular kids? Like, are we ever going to have like regular kids who actually like do sports and do regular kid things, or is everybody gonna be an influencer?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be a firefighter. Nobody wants to be a doctor. Nobody wants to be police. Like, everybody's just gonna be dancing on TikTok.
But y'all the ones that had a problem when we were talking about China cutting down on people being able to overly show all these designer goods and this luxury lifestyle. And the reason that they were doing it is because less and less kids are wanting to have regular jobs. You know, everybody wants to be an influencer. So, I mean, are we for it or
I don't know, Tally. That was a nice try.
I mean, everybody could want all they want to be an influencer.
Yes.
They could post 50,000 videos, but guess what? If the views is not viewing and the money not money, and they will
Listen,
have
to
to
be
be
an
a
influencer-
regular
What if
job.
when
you
the
have to
internet
have-
shuts down?
Exactly, but honestly, even to be an influencer, there's a certain it factor, je ne sais quoi, that you have to have.
Ooh,
You know,
say
to
it
What
even-
were you saying
je ne sais
again?
quoi. Have to even like take off. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
for
You can't
sure.
just like post and then be like, yeah, this is like, you have to add the quality, you have to have the personality.
Yes.
There's like a science to it, and then you got to add the business behind it,
Yeah.
so you can be self-sufficient with your social media. You know.
Yeah.
So for Illinois, I genuinely do think they're doing it for a tax thing, but I'm also not mad at it either, because there are parents, and even if we want to bring it in the celebrity world, childhood stars who never saw a dollar of what they have been making, and they were working so hard since like diapers, you know.
Right, and a lot of
Or
these,
not even knowing that they're working.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
not even knowing
Yeah.
that this is something
They
that
think it's
somebody's
fun.
getting paid for. Right, right.
Yeah.
and then imagine the content that, you know, the kid is featured in when low key the parents' page is only popping because the kid is on it, baby.
Right.
Nobody want to see you.
Period.
Right.
There's like so many
Right.
pages I
I
literally
came to
only
see little
watch.
Charlene.
Right.
I came to see Pookie Butt.
But also at the same time, at 16, what are you really? What are you really paying for? Like I really
College.
what?
Like, you know,
Yeah.
when it's time to go to college, you got to save up for that. College is expensive. I'm still paying it back.
Right, I feel that. But no, I don't want it to seem like parents are taking advantage of their kids.
Some
putting them
are,
on.
Some of them are.
Some are.
Some
I'm
are.
not gonna say not all.
Yeah.
Some are. We have that small percentage.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's a small percentage.
Right.
But there are parents that would take this money, right, and be able to pay. What if the parent can't work? You know what I mean? But their child is just so darn cute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're able to. A lot of these kids, when they get into sports and they get into acting and they get into this and singing and dancing and go here, then you got to drive all the way to New York, then California, then Atlanta. That's an expense.
Yeah.
So we really can't say, oh, they give a 16-year-old $100,000.
Yeah, and you know how the parent is going to pay for that? They're going to take it out of their 16-year-old salary for the month. That's how they're going to pay for it. And
Yes,
they're going
I
to write it
agree.
off. Yeah, like
Right, but then you also have to think about the parents that don't have proper money management
Yeah.
skills, that are seeing this influx from content creation and are going to squander it before their kids are 18.
Yeah.
And now the kid doesn't have anything put aside and their cuteness is gone. So now when you're at 18, baby, you have to reinvent yourself and find that special
Right.
thing that you had at 6 and 7 and 8. It's gone now. And your mama
Sound
lost
like
all that
Shad
money.
Moss.
dang. Not little Bow Wow.
Sound
Bow Wow's
him.
still handsome.
He had to reinvent himself,
He
you know,
did,
like
yeah.
from a child star.
And start doing do-rags and stuff like that.
Yep, I let him do rags.
Yeah,
That's
you
all you
would
got
love-
right now because you look a little chunky.
Oh my
Last
God.
time I seen
I'm
though.
done.
That
Leave
is
him alone. Leave him
hilarious.
alone.
But I mean, there is an advantage in, because there are some debates saying like, oh, some of these parents are forcing their kids to do these things or whatever. I'm like, I don't think any parents are forcing their kids to do this, and if they are, that sucks. We don't see what's going on behind the camera. But from my perspective, it looks like the kids are really having fun, and you never know. You might have tapped into a part of your child that could make them go beyond what they initially was gonna beyond where they were initially gonna go if
Yeah.
had you not put that camera in front of their face, had you not had them do a little dancey dance or do a little TikTok
No,
sound.
I've seen parents like fully taking advantage of their child. Like, and the child is so young, they don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
there's this little, I don't know the girl's page or the mom's page, but she made a page for her daughter, and she's constantly like having her daughter like eat these like weird foods, like it's really like exploiting the
Yeah.
child, because like she'll give her like a banana or something, and
I know
like
what
she'll
you're talking about.
you seen the
Oh,
videos, like
yeah.
it is so sick, and then got all of these men in the comments, but the videos go crazy. Like they do crazy numbers, but it's also like
She's giving her banana to do what?
Eat the banana.
eat, but of course it's a child, so she don't really know how she's eating the banana. But grown men on the app
but
can
that's the
watch that.
intention.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
She
Like, and
would've-
she knows what she's doing
And
because
she
she's a
leaves her
grown
comments
woman.
off. It's like a whole conspiracy theory with her, because she also leaves her comment sections off because
Yeah.
she had been getting comments like those.
Yeah.
But she continuously gives
Yeah.
her daughter things to eat
And the
that
page is
could be
monetized.
looked at, you know. I mean,
little questionable.
yeah, exactly. And at the same time, yeah, it's kind of like you shouldn't revolve your life around other people and whatnot. But
Imagine
I also
that little girl
understand.
grows up, she's already sexualized.
Yeah, it's like she is actively, she's not doing anything to prevent it in a way either. I don't know if this is making sense, but like
She's like
She's a
she's
child,
like the
she don't
modern
know.
day Shirley Temple.
yeah.
They super sexualized Shirley Temple in the very slightest ways of what she was doing. But at the same time, at the end of the day, now when Shirley Temple grew older, she came back and said, this was torture to me.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
hard. I couldn't and she's went through really traumatizing things because of what her parents put her in and had her doing because it was it made money.
Yeah, exactly.
But when we think about like how Disney and Nickelodeon are paying these child stars like so much money for the content that they're creating for Disney, do we feel like it's fair for a child to be, you know, the star of the content and not getting paid? Or do we feel like it's something that maybe the other 50 states should implement?
No, I for sure think all the 50 states should implement it. But as far as to give the child the same tax requirement as an adult, I don't think that's fair. And in that aspect, I'd be like, that's the state really just trying to double dip. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Which is probably what Illinois is doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly think all states should implement it. But I think at the end of the day, I think majority of parents are already taking care of their kids, and they're gonna have their kids back at the end of
They're
the
a
day.
kid. Like, they
Yeah.
still, you have to feed, and you still have to clothe them. Like, they're seeing the money some way. But I do agree with actually paying the kids, too.
Yeah. And especially for those families that have poor financial literacy, you know, like, I mean, I'm gonna be real. In the beginning of my social media, you know, journey, I had poor financial literacy as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, like now that I do have financial literacy and I do have somebody like overseeing my finances and how they're handling it, I'm like, ooh, I was blowing a lot of money in the beginning. Like I really was, but I also never saw that much money in my life.
But
so yeah.
imagine that with a 16-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. In that aspect, I guess that's when you can put it into a trust. But you know, yeah.
I think maybe if we're going to give a requirement, I think if they're going to get 15%, it needs to be in a secured account.
I agree.
Yeah.
But you guys, we do have to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching POV. Welcome back, and if you're just now tuning in, you're watching POV. Over 1 in 3 women in the United States have experienced physical violence in a domestic relationship. Black people lead the statistic, followed by Hispanic and white people. Oftentimes, when a woman is abused, they return back to their partner and give them a pass. So ladies, since this is like super common, have you guys ever dealt with a loved one who went through a domestic violence situation and they just went back? They kept going back despite all the advice you gave them. And how did you handle it?
Honestly, unfortunately, like I've had a lot of people in my life that have dealt with these type of situations. And even me too. Like I was in an abusive relationship before and I went back once. Then I didn't go back again.
Yeah.
Like that was it. I went back once. But honestly, like I feel like when someone, because it's not even just women who get abused, you know, like men are abused too. But in this situation, I'm talking about women.
Right.
When a woman is really done, like she's really fed up, she will leave.
Yeah.
And it's not until that moment that somebody else can actually help the situation, because you can give your homegirl all the advice in the world. If she feel like she loved that man, she's gonna stay with that man.
Exactly.
Regardless of how many times he's hit her, how many times he's apologized. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now at home, no gift is worth that.
Yeah.
No teddy bear, no flowers,
No
no
car.
date,
Yeah.
no car, no house. Like I understand the girls that say, "Oh, I'd rather cry in a Rolls Royce." Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'd rather cry alone.
Yeah. I understand
Like,
that.
you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been the friend and I've been the person.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a household where I, unfortunately, you know, had watched a domestic violence situation, you know,
Same.
with my mother and my stepfather. And it did break my heart. I was like so afraid. Like as a kid, you don't know what to do when you are seeing your mom physically get hurt, you know?
Yeah.
But
It's also like you look like, why are you staying with him?
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I would see that. But, you know, I feel like the older you get, the more you start to see your parents as human beings rather than, you know, when you were little, you kind of saw them as like, oh, you're like a superhero. You make food appear on the table and this, that, and the third. But now that, you know, I'm older and I see my mom as a person, I'm like, okay, you're just a girl and you're just like a person who's just really trying to figure life out too, you know. But a lot of people don't know when it comes to domestic violence situations in Black, Hispanic, even immigrant situations, a lot of the times it's finances. You know, it's finances. Yeah, it really is, because sometimes a woman would probably go through a domestic violence situation and, you know, rather than calling the police, in the moment she might want to, in the moment she might like, you know, scream and be like, no, he's like, you know, whatever. But then she thinks about it and she's like, wait, this is how I eat. You know what I mean? This is how I keep the roof over my head. This is how my kids have a pillow to sleep on at night. Exactly. And especially with immigrant situations, a lot of those women are like, if he gets arrested, he's going to get deported and now my kids don't have a dad. You know, and in Black situations, it's like, if he gets arrested, he could be subject to getting abused by the police or killed, you know? So there's just so many layers and so many... There's just a lot of like things to unpack when it comes to things like that.
And every situation is different, you know, like because it doesn't always have to be physical abuse. Like it could, a lot of people don't talk about the mental abuse that comes with, you know, relationships. You know, like you have to really endure everything that your partner brings to the table. You know, that's why I always tell y'all, people who are still healing, don't date. Do not get out of the dating pool, please, because you're not gonna do anything but hurt people. Because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like I've been in a few situations, you know, being the friend or the family member of someone in a domestic situation, and it's a very sensitive space to be in. One, because, you know, emotionally you're invested and you want the best for them, and and you want them to be safe. But I feel like, you know, those situations are harmful more than sometimes to the party that's getting abused, you know, because a lot of times, you know, those people are calling you and they want you to come to their rescue, when ultimately most times they are going to stay, and now you're putting yourself
in a listening
exactly
ear. They don't even really want to be saved. They
right.
just needed to
And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand. They kind of need to have a boundary there that, hey, if you want someone to talk to, I'm here, but baby, don't ask me to pull up.
Oh yeah,
Right.
No, please don't put me in a dangerous situation and ask me to pull up. Like if it's a friend, you know.
Girl, if he'll hit you, he gonna hit me.
Right.
No, ma'am.
If he could hit
No,
you, he could kill me.
Okay,
like, you know
no,
what I mean?
ma'am.
Like there's no like tie there. There's no love there. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I've
just
seen
how
a
I
lot of
feel.
stories like that as well. I can't remember, but I believe there was one maybe in New York, if
I
I'm
know what you're
correct,
talking
a
about.
couple years ago, and it was a young girl in a domestic violence situation,
Yep.
and I guess she was trying to get away, and her friend was walking with her or something, and then the boyfriend who was abusive ended up shooting and killing her friend.
that pulled up.
Yep. Yep.
No.
The friend alone?
Yeah.
The friend alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that girl has to feel like dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like dirt to pull your friend into a situation like that, and then your friend dies.
Yeah.
Coming to your rescue.
Yeah.
But that's why people have to be mindful of the situation that they put themselves into, because it's not just you. It could be your kids, it could be your friend, your neighbor, you know, innocent bystander that has nothing to do with this situation that you will not get out of.
Yeah.
That's
Especially if you know you're not leaving.
That's why when people say all the time, like, I love you to death, I'm like, nah, baby, love me to life.
Right.
Don't love me to death. Love me to life.
Yeah, please do not love me to death. What do you think, Janaya?
I'm not gonna lie. I have not been that friend.
Yeah.
I have not been in a position where a friend who was, you know, thank God my friends are safe, and or in a relationship that their love is healthy. You know, may not always be healthy. Maybe a little toxic, but not that kind.
Right.
You know. But I'm not gonna lie. God knows my heart.
Amen.
And I think I know why I haven't been put in that position, because
You gonna pull up?
You gonna pull up.
every time.
Yeah.
I am breaking it down.
I'm breaking the dough down.
She gonna break it like the SWAT team.
But also, like, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't found, a lot of my friends are not small and timid. You know, a lot of my friends are strong with big personalities. Like, you know, I don't know. It's a lot. It's like kind of like getting kidnapped. You know, like you're a target. You know, you put yourself. That's
Shoo, you'd be surprised what some men can bring out of woman, the toughest woman.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I feel like this is why I have always been 100% on. Don't 100% depend on a man.
Yeah.
Don't ever feel like you can never be okay without a man, because then you're gonna put yourself in a position where he feels he has so much power over you that he can
Rip it away from you.
you know, rough you up, pick you up, snatch you up, because he feels like, yes, he has this level of power over you that you won't leave.
Right. But people are also in domestic violence situations sometimes when they're overachievers, you know, and maybe, you know, the woman or the man's ego could be hurt because, you know, maybe they're upset that they're not the one exactly that has a promotion, or is that, you know, the financially stable one of the relationship. I mean, so there are so many variables why people stay, and, you know, how they're mentally broken down to be in a docile state to even be able to take advantage of. But I mean, like Miriam said, sometimes it's not just about like the size, you know what I'm saying? Because look at us black people, so long enslaved. It's not that we weren't bigger or stronger, you know, than the people that held us captive. It was a mental thing, you know what I'm saying? They got in our mind, they made us feel small.
You don't have to be physically a large person. It's just having the attitude of, you know, I'm just gonna stay here and be quiet and not say anything because I don't want to ruffle
It is for sure a state of mind when you feel as if, like, you know, this is where I have to stay. You feel as you feel as if this is the best this is the best place that I can be for now, or however amount of time, you know. And I'm here to tell you guys, there's always better. Like if somebody is putting their hands on you or saying mean words to you, that is not love, you know.
It's how many people in this world? 7 point how many billion people in this world?
A lot of billions.
There's so many fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Go catch you a new one.
Right.
There are a lot of systemic things, systemic factors that play into the role as to why there's so much domestic violence cases too.
Yeah.
Like the pay gap between men and women it's still so big. I know it's coming closer and closer, but it's still so big to where like men make significantly more than some women, and it don't matter like how hard we work. Like it's like we're climbing a ladder that just keeps moving up, you know?
I don't even want to say it's the money gap. Like I do.
Well, no,
understand.
that's just one factor for sure. So it's not only like, you know, the situation. Sometimes it could be just systemic reasons too, as to why.
Just the people.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's genuinely
Everybody
like
need a little therapy.
the people.
Yeah. For sure, genuinely.
People
the
choose
people,
to
for
stay,
sure.
and people choose to be abusive.
Yeah,
like,
but think about it. If you are in a situation, not you, but just anyone who's in a situation where they feel as if this is literally how I'm gonna eat. A lot of people also don't talk about like even homeless domestic violence too. There's a lot of like in the homeless community, a lot of women go through some domestic violence situations too, because whoever they're with or whoever they're, you know, going through the journey with, they feel like this is best, and sometimes they'll just give them drugs to kind of keep them in, you know, a docile state, or you know.
I think also, you know, lack of education can also come into play, because if you're not, you know, educated, or if you're not emotionally healthy or stable, you know, then maybe sometimes you may get physical because you don't feel like you're able to verbally express how you feel. So let me show you, you're gonna feel me this way. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's rough.
It is rough. It is super, super rough out there.
Get out if you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get out if you can. It's always something better. It's always something better.
My dad tried to, you know, grab my mama, and she hit him with a 2x4. So it's possible.
I don't want to
They
laugh.
could try.
That's not funny.
It's funny. It's funny.
It's because I know your mom.
Yeah,
so
she's like, oh, you tried it. You know,
God.
people.
The grass is greener where you water it.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's turf. I'm just kidding. That's very true.
Don't water
Depends on what it's
turf.
planted on. But you guys, if you or anyone you know, a loved one, is going through any domestic violence, anything, there is for sure a hotline that we will pan on the screen. For sure, reach out on this hotline, you guys. But you guys, we are running out of time. Catch us back here tomorrow here at Afro TV. Bye.